The rule was simple: do not disturb humanity. Now their empire is gone, HFY. The stars above Earth were calm, sparkling silently in the black sky. On a distant planet, the Council of the Galaxy gathered. They were tall, elegant, and covered in smooth, shining skin. Each of them had lived for hundreds of years. They had seen civilizations rise and fall. They called themselves the Galactic Conquered. Ethan Brooks, one of the council commanders, stood near the center of the room. His skin was a soft gray, and his eyes glowed faintly blue. He looked down at the holomap of Earth floating before him. "They are weak," he said. "Primitive, they cannot fight us." Another council member, Leela Monroe, shook her head slowly. Her green scales shimmered under the light of the chamber. "You underestimate them," she said. "Humans are not like other species. They may be small, but they are clever. You cannot predict them. They will surprise you." Ethan snorted. "Clever? I have seen clever species. This is nothing. They barely control their own planet. They fight each other constantly." "What threat could they possibly pose?" Leela stepped closer to the hologram. "You forget one thing. Humans have something others do not. They adapt. When danger comes, they do not only fight. They learn, they plan, and they change. If you interfere with them, you will see what I mean. You will regret it." The council murmured among themselves. Some agreed with Leela, but most followed Ethan's logic. They had always controlled the galaxy through power and knowledge. They believed no species could ever challenge them. The decision was made. The council would send a fleet to Earth. They would build stations in orbit and observe. They would study humans closely and learn their weaknesses. It was a simple plan. Humanity could not resist. On Earth, far below the Council's distant star systems, humans went about their daily lives. Cities hummed with life. People walked on streets, drove in cars, and worked in offices. Children played in parks. No one suspected the danger approaching from the stars. Captain Ryan Harris was on duty in a military observation station in Nevada. The station was small compared to the large alien fleets above, but it had the best human technology. Ryan sat at a console, staring at screens showing the orbit above Earth. "Everything looks normal," he said to his assistant, Olivia Bennett. Olivia, a bright young scientist, shook her head. "Not everything. I've noticed anomalies in satellite readings. Something is coming and it's not natural. I cannot explain it yet, but it is there." Ryan leaned closer to the screen. "How big is it?" he asked. "Massive," Olivia said. "Not just one ship, something huge approaching quietly. It is not a normal satellite or asteroid. Whatever it is advanced." Ryan frowned. "You think it is alien?" Olivia nodded. "I am almost certain. We are not alone, and I think they are coming here with intent. We need to prepare." Ryan took a deep breath. "All right, alert the other stations, prepare for possible contact, and keep this quiet for now. We do not want to panic the public." Meanwhile, in orbit above Earth, the alien fleet moved with precision. Ships glided silently through space, their engines humming softly. Ethan Brooks observed from the command vessel. "Prepare the orbital stations. Begin construction. Humans will not resist." "They will not even understand what is happening until it is too late." Leela Monroe frowned. "You are too confident. They will fight back. Mark my words, you will see." Ethan turned sharply to her. "We are the conquered. We do not fail. They are primitive. Do not worry." The plan is perfect. The first ships descended into Earth orbit. Humans on the ground watched in awe as strange objects appeared in the night sky. Some called them meteors, others thought they were satellites. Few realized the truth. In the United States, Ryan and Olivia monitored the objects. "They are building something," Olivia said, watching the alien stations unfold like machines growing in the sky. "They are too fast. We have to understand their technology." Ryan nodded. "We will." "Humans always find a way. Let's begin analyzing their movements. We need to know their weakness before they finish." On Earth, governments reacted slowly. The United Nations called an emergency meeting, but most leaders were skeptical. They thought humans were too weak to fight such advanced beings. "This is likely a mistake," said one diplomat. "We cannot even match our own neighbor's technology. How can we fight aliens?" But Ryan and Olivia were not convinced. They began gathering scientists and engineers. Dylan Moore and Sophie Adams joined them. Dylan was an engineer who specialized in adaptive technology, and Sophie was a strategist who had worked in simulations for defense. Together, they began creating a plan to counter the alien presence. Meanwhile, the aliens continued their work. The Council believed humanity would do nothing. They believed humans would flee or surrender. The stations grew larger and more complex. Energy shields rose around them. Weapons were deployed. Ethan Brooks smiled. Soon this planet will belong to the conquered. Humans will be powerless. But humans were watching, learning, and planning. Olivia hacked a small drone to gather alien data. She studied the station's construction patterns, energy flow, and shield design. "They are advanced," she said, "but not perfect. We can find a way." Ryan smiled. "That is all we need. Humans always find a way. Let's begin our countermeasures." On the surface of Earth, ordinary people noticed strange changes. Power grids flickered, satellites disappeared, and communications were interrupted. Panic began to rise, but Ryan, Olivia, Dylan, and Sophie worked quietly to develop a strategy. They would not fight blindly. They would fight smart. Ethan Brooks noticed subtle movements in human defenses. "Minor anomalies," he said to Leela Monroe. "They do not matter. They cannot threaten us." Leela's eyes narrowed. "Do not underestimate them," she warned. "You may regret it." The first human action came sooner than expected. Small, unmanned ships launched from hidden bases on Earth, striking alien supply lines. The attacks were precise. Alien commanders were shocked. The humans were not running. They were fighting, and they were effective. Ryan watched the strikes from the control station. "They are hitting their weak points," he said. "Olivia, show me the patterns." Olivia smiled as graphs and maps appeared on her screens. "Their shields have small gaps where energy flow changes. Our drones can exploit those gaps. It is small, but it works." Dylan and Sophie began modifying ships for larger attacks. "If they can hit the weak points with drones," Dylan said, "we can scale it up with our own vessels." Sophie nodded. "We need to act fast. The longer we wait, the more they build. And they will not stop until the stations are complete." Ethan Brooks began noticing the human attacks were more organized than he expected. "Minor setbacks," he said, though worry flickered in his eyes. "They are primitive. They cannot do much." But the humans continued. Day after day, they attacked supply lines, studied alien technology, and built defenses of their own. The Council's confidence began to crack, though Ethan refused to admit it. On Earth, Ryan, Olivia, Dylan, and Sophie worked tirelessly. They had no large fleet, no advanced weapons like the Conquered, but they had intelligence, courage, and unity. And they had one thing the aliens did not fully understand: humanity's determination. The first real confrontation in orbit came quietly. Alien ships moved to intercept a human vessel. Ryan led the small team personally. "Stay calm," he said. "Follow the plan. Humans always find a way." The human vessel moved unpredictably, dodging energy blasts. Olivia guided it from the station. Dylan calculated angles and speeds, adjusting trajectories in real time. Sophie coordinated with other hidden teams on Earth. The aliens could not predict their moves. Ethan Brooks watched as a ship was destroyed by a maneuver he never expected. "Impossible," he whispered. Leela Monroe smiled grimly. "I told you, you underestimate them." The humans survived, and the aliens were forced to retreat temporarily. It was the first proof that humanity was not as weak as the Council had assumed. The rule was simple: do not disturb humanity. The Council had already crossed that line. On Earth, Ryan, Olivia, Dylan, and Sophie looked up at the stars. They knew the battle was only beginning, but they also knew one thing: humans were ready. They were united, clever, and brave. And if the aliens wanted to test them, they would learn a lesson they would never forget. Humans had shown the first signs of resistance, and now they prepared for more. Ryan Harris and Olivia Bennett worked day and night in the Nevada control station. The screens glowed with alien movements, energy flows, and orbital patterns. Every detail mattered. "We cannot let them finish their stations," Olivia said, pointing at the holographic map. "If they complete the shields, we will have no chance to strike." Dylan Moore and Sophie Adams stood beside her. Dylan was adjusting a small drone ship for a larger attack. "We can scale this up," he said. "These drones are fast, smart, and adaptable. If we launch a coordinated strike, we can take out multiple supply lines at once." Sophie nodded. "Timing is everything. They will not expect humans to act in such organized ways. They think we are weak and chaotic. That is our advantage." Ryan looked at the team, determination in his eyes. "Then we move. Tonight we strike. All units follow the plan." Humans never give up, and they never fight alone. Remember that. The first human fleet was small but carefully designed. The vessels were built for speed and adaptability, with shields that could bend around energy blasts and weapons that could find weak points. They were not large, but they were smart. Olivia had programmed them to learn from the aliens' attacks in real time. As the human ships launched into orbit, the alien commanders watched from their stations. Ethan Brooks frowned. "They are attempting an offensive," he said. "This is impossible. They are primitive. Their ships are fragile. We can destroy them easily." But the humans were clever. Ryan guided the lead ship through an unpredictable path. Energy blasts from alien weapons passed harmlessly, their targeting systems unable to adapt. The human ships closed on the supply stations. Dylan adjusted the drones' attack patterns. "Focus on the joints," he said. "Where the shields intersect, that is the weak point." The drones moved like a swarm, striking multiple points simultaneously. Alien shields flickered, energy circuits overloaded, and several supply lines were destroyed. Ethan Brooks could not believe what he was seeing. "How is this possible?" he shouted. Leela Monroe shook her head. "I warned you, humans do not fight like others. They are unpredictable." On Earth, the team celebrated the first success but knew the battle was far from over. Ryan looked at the screens. "They will retaliate," he said. "Prepare the defenses, we have only started." The aliens launched counterattacks. Ships moved to intercept the human fleet. Energy beams lit the darkness of orbit. Alien weapons were strong and humans took losses, but the losses were measured. Every strike taught the human ship something new. Olivia updated their systems continuously, making each ship smarter. Dylan piloted one of the larger vessels during a key maneuver. "Keep steady," he said to Sophie, who coordinated drone attacks from Earth. "If we can force their ships into a trap, we can destroy more than they expect." The trap worked. Using decoys and drones, the humans lured several alien ships into a narrow corridor between satellites. Energy blasts ricocheted, shields failed, and the alien vessels were destroyed. For the first time, Ethan Brooks saw humans not as weak, but as dangerous. On Earth, scientists and engineers worked around the clock. Olivia monitored alien communications. "They are confused," she said. "Their coordination is failing. They cannot predict our movements." Sophie smiled. "Exactly what I said. They think we are simple. We are not. Humans are clever, adaptive, and persistent, and we fight for our home. That gives us strength they cannot match." The news spread slowly among humans. Governments began to see that these attacks were not random. Humans were uniting. Nations that had often been at odds worked together, sharing technology and intelligence. Ryan and Olivia coordinated with allies worldwide. Meanwhile, alien morale was collapsing. Ethan Brooks tried to maintain order, but Leela Monroe saw the truth. "You underestimated them," she said calmly. "Every action they take shows intelligence, courage, and unity." "This is not luck, this is human nature." Ethan refused to listen. "We are the conquered. No species can resist us. This will end soon. They will break." But the humans continued to adapt. Dylan and Sophie developed new weapons that exploited energy fluctuations in alien shields. Ryan guided ships to strike weak points in orbital stations. Olivia hacked alien communication lines, causing confusion and delaying reinforcements. The aliens launched a massive attack on Earth's surface, trying to destroy key human facilities. Missiles and energy beams rained down, but humans had already prepared. Hidden underground bunkers, shielded cities, and adaptive countermeasures minimized the damage. People evacuated safely. Human loss was unfortunate but limited. Ryan looked at the destruction and clenched his fists. "They think fear will stop us. It won't. Humans do not surrender, not now, not ever." Olivia worked quickly, analyzing alien signals. "Their main fleet is concentrated near the orbit. If we can strike at the command vessel, we can disrupt their control. It will be risky, but it might give us a real advantage." Dylan and Sophie agreed. "We can do it," Dylan said. "We just need perfect timing and coordination. That is what humans do best. We plan, we adapt, and we act together." The plan was simple in theory but difficult in execution. Human ships moved under cover of darkness and debris in orbit. Drones and smaller ships acted as decoys. Ryan led the main strike team directly toward the alien command vessel. Ethan Brooks watched from his bridge as humans approached. He sent his best fighters to intercept them. "Destroy them," he shouted. "Do not let them reach the command vessel." But the humans were smarter. Using unexpected paths and sudden maneuvers, they avoided direct confrontation. Their adaptive shields absorbed some blasts while their weapons struck at weak points. Olivia monitored the entire operation from Earth. "Keep going," she said. "They are almost there." Focus on the reactor section. That is where their control systems are weak. Ryan maneuvered carefully, dodging energy blasts. Dylan's calculations guided each movement precisely. Sophie coordinated the drones, ensuring alien attention was divided. Finally, the lead human vessel struck the reactor section. Energy surged, systems overloaded, and the alien command vessel began to fail. Ethan Brooks felt panic for the first time in his life. "Impossible," he whispered. Leela Monroe's eyes were steady. "They are humans. Nothing is impossible for them when they fight for survival." The destruction of the command vessel caused chaos among the alien fleet. Ships lost coordination, shields failed, and supply lines collapsed. Humans took advantage, striking multiple stations simultaneously. Within hours, the aliens suffered major losses they had never expected. On Earth, Ryan, Olivia, Dylan, and Sophie celebrated the success but knew this was only the beginning. Humans had proven they could fight, but the aliens would regroup. They needed to be ready for the next wave. Across the galaxy, other species observed the battle with surprise. Humans were not weak. Humans were a force unlike any other. Stories of their clever tactics, courage, and determination spread quickly. The reputation of the Galactic conquered began to falter. Ethan Brooks was furious. "How can this happen? We are the strongest. No species can fight us. Yet these humans—" He could not finish the sentence. Leela Monroe simply said, "You ignored the rule. You disturbed humanity." This is the result. Humans continued to strengthen. New ships were built. Communication networks became more advanced. Defense systems improved. Every battle taught them new strategies. They were learning faster than the aliens could anticipate. Ryan looked at Olivia. "We need to stay ahead," he said. "They will try to strike back harder. We cannot let them. Humans never give up, and we cannot let fear control us." Olivia nodded. "We will keep adapting. Every weakness they have, we will find it. Every mistake they make, we will exploit it. This is survival, and humans know how to survive." The first full-scale attack of humanity had shocked the aliens. They expected submission. They expected surrender. But humans did not surrender. Humans fought. Humans learned. And humans won battles they were never supposed to win. The council was shaken. Members argued. Some wanted to retreat. Others still believed humans were primitive and would eventually fail. Ethan Brooks refused to admit defeat, but even he could feel the growing threat. On Earth, the people celebrated quietly. No one boasted, but everyone knew humans had changed. They were no longer merely a planet of primitive beings. They were a species capable of defending themselves, a species that could challenge the greatest powers in the galaxy. Ryan, Olivia, Dylan, and Sophie looked at the stars, knowing the next challenge would be greater. But for the first time, humans had proven something important. They were not weak. They were not alone. And the Council would learn that disturbing humanity came with consequences. Humans had shown they could fight, but now the real test began. The alien fleet had been damaged, but it was not gone. Ethan Brooks and the Council scrambled to rebuild, sending reinforcements from nearby systems. They believed sheer numbers would crush Earth's defenses. Ryan Harris stood at the command center in Nevada, staring at the screens. Olivia Bennett, Dylan Moore, and Sophie Adams were beside him. "They are sending more ships," Ryan said calmly. "We have to be ready. We cannot let them overwhelm us." Olivia nodded, her fingers flying over the keyboard. "I've been analyzing their patterns. They are predictable if we watch closely. Every fleet they send has a flaw. We can exploit it." Dylan adjusted the controls on one of the human vessels. "Their weapons are powerful but slow to adapt. Our ships are faster. We can use that to our advantage." Sophie studied the holographic map. "They are confident. They think their numbers will win, but humans are clever. We don't rely on numbers. We rely on strategy and precision. That is how we survive." The first wave of new alien ships arrived in orbit. Massive, sleek, and deadly, they blocked the sun's light over parts of Earth. The cities below trembled as energy beams flashed in the sky. Ordinary people watched, terrified, but governments had begun evacuations. Humanity was ready this time. Ryan gave the orders. "Deploy all adaptive ships. Launch drones. Follow the plan. Remember, precision is more important than power. Humans always find a way." The human fleet moved like a living organism. Smaller ships acted as decoys while larger vessels targeted supply lines. Drones swarmed over alien stations, analyzing weak points. Every attack taught the humans more about alien technology. Ethan Brooks watched the attacks from his command vessel. They are stronger than before, he said angrily. How is this possible? They are primitive. Leela Monroe shook her head. You still do not understand. Humans are not primitive. They are survivors. Every setback makes them stronger. You have underestimated them from the start, and now it will cost you everything. In orbit, Ryan led a group of human ships on a daring mission. Their target was an alien production station. It supplied weapons, energy, and reinforcements. If humans destroyed it, the aliens would be forced to slow their operations. Dylan piloted the lead vessel. Stay close to me, he said. We will weave through their defenses. Olivia, give us real-time data. Sophie, coordinate drones to strike their weak points. The alien ships fired energy beams, trying to intercept them. Shields glowed and sparks flew as some blasts hit human ships, but they adapted immediately. Each vessel changed direction, bent its shields, and returned fire with precision. The drones reached the station first, cutting through outer defenses. Olivia monitored the patterns and shouted commands. Focus on the reactor, hit the reactor, it will destabilize the whole station. Energy surged inside the alien station. Alarms blared across their command consoles. Ethan Brooks banged the table. Impossible. How can they do this? They should not be able to penetrate our shields. Leela Monroe quietly watched the destruction. They are humans. They do not fight like any other species. They learn, adapt, and act together. This is only the beginning. The station exploded in orbit, sending shards of metal and energy into space. Alien ships scattered to avoid damage, giving the humans an opportunity to attack supply lines and smaller stations. Within hours, their losses were minimal, while the aliens were forced to retreat. On Earth, news of the human victory spread quickly among military and scientific circles. The governments were no longer skeptical. They saw that humanity had changed. Ryan, Olivia, Dylan, and Sophie were recognized as leaders of a new era. Ryan looked at the stars. They will come back, he said. We have slowed them down, but they will regroup. We need to prepare for the next wave. Olivia studied alien signals. They are reorganizing. They are sending reinforcements from multiple systems. We will need a bigger plan. We cannot rely on small strikes anymore. We have to hit their main fleet before they can rebuild. Sophie nodded. That is risky, but humans do risky things. We do what is necessary, and we do it together. Dylan added, we also have to protect Earth. The population cannot take more attacks. We need precision. We cannot fail. In space, alien forces gathered near a distant asteroid field. Ethan Brooks tried to plan a new attack, but his fleet was disorganized. Losses had been heavy, and humans were learning faster than he could predict. He sent orders for a massive assault on Earth, hoping sheer numbers would overwhelm human defenses. But humans had anticipated this. Ryan and his team had prepared hidden bases on the Moon, Mars, and in orbit. They had coordinated with scientists worldwide to create traps and ambushes for the incoming fleet. As the alien fleet approached, drones scattered to confuse sensors. Smaller human ships darted in and out, striking supply ships and intercepting communications. Large human vessels moved slowly but strategically, targeting alien weak points identified through hours of observation. Olivia guided one of the main attacks. They are concentrating on Earth, she said. We need to lure them away, use the decoys near the asteroid field, force them into our trap. The alien commanders fell for it. Ships moved toward the decoys, thinking they were the main human force. Human vessels waited in hiding, ready to strike. Ryan gave the final command. Now, hit them together. Precision, speed, coordination. Show them what humans can do. The ambush was devastating. Alien ships were destroyed in numbers they could not replace. Supply lines collapsed and reinforcements could not reach the front. The Council was shocked. Their fleet, once powerful, had been shattered by humans who were still a fraction of their size. Ethan Brooks realized his mistake. They are stronger than we thought, he admitted quietly. This should not be possible. Humans, they should not be able to do this. Leela Monroe looked at him calmly. I told you, you ignored the rule, you disturbed humanity. Now you are paying the price. On Earth, Ryan, Olivia, Dylan, and Sophie coordinated cleanup attacks. Alien ships that tried to flee were intercepted. Alien command centers were sabotaged by drones. Humanity's strikes were precise, measured, and relentless. Ordinary humans, too, played a role. Factories produced parts for ships, civilians helped in logistics, and scientists continued to improve weapons. Every person contributed to the defense. The aliens did not understand this unity. They had fought advanced civilizations before, but none had the cooperation, creativity, and courage of humans. The council called emergency meetings, arguing over what to do. Some wanted to negotiate, but others demanded more attacks. Ethan Brooks wanted to continue fighting, but he could see the cracks in morale. Leela Monroe reminded him, "You cannot underestimate humans. They are learning faster than you can destroy them." Meanwhile, Ryan and his team were not celebrating. They knew the aliens would strike again, perhaps harder than before. But they also knew humans had proven something important. They could fight, they could survive, and they could win. Dylan spoke during a planning session. "We are not done. The aliens are still dangerous, but we now know their weaknesses. We can exploit them. Every attack teaches us more." Sophie nodded. "And humans are learning together. We can act as one mind if we need to. That is something the aliens will never understand." Olivia added, "We have also sent messages to nearby friendly systems. They can help us if needed. The galaxy is watching humans now. We are no longer alone." Ryan looked at the stars and smiled. "Humans have always fought when cornered. We are survivors. And now we are not just surviving. We are winning. The Council will learn that disturbing humanity was a grave mistake." The aliens, meanwhile, tried to regroup. They sent fleets to nearby systems for reinforcements, but each attempt failed. Humans had studied their tactics, adapted quickly, and struck with precision. The conquered, once feared, now feared humans. The battle in orbit on the Moon and near Mars continued for months. Each encounter demonstrated the same truth. Humans were clever, adaptive, and united. No matter the technology, no matter the numbers, humans found a way to win. In secret locations on Earth, scientists and engineers continued to develop new ships, drones, and weapons. Ordinary citizens helped in small ways, providing resources, intelligence, and support. Humans had become more than a planet. They were a force growing stronger every day. Ethan Brooks and the Council realized something terrifying. Humans were not just defending. They were learning, adapting, and preparing for a larger offensive. If the Council had ignored the rule to leave humanity alone, they would soon face the consequences. The first major phase of humanity's counterattack had ended. Alien forces were scattered, supply lines destroyed, and command systems compromised. Humans had survived impossible odds. They had proven that they were not weak. Ryan, Olivia, Dylan, and Sophie stood together, looking at the stars. "This is just the beginning," Ryan said. "They may have underestimated us, but now they will see the truth. Humans do not surrender. Humans fight, adapt, and win, and the Council will learn that lesson the hard way." Humans had survived the first waves. They had fought, adapted, and learned. Now they were ready to take the fight to the aliens. Ryan Harris, Olivia Bennett, Dylan Moore, and Sophie Adams gathered in the Nevada Command Center. The room buzzed with energy as screens displayed the positions of alien fleets across the solar system. "This is our chance," Ryan said. "They are weakened. Their command is in chaos, their fleets are scattered, and their morale is low. If we strike now, we can end this." Olivia nodded. "We have studied their technology. We know their weaknesses. We can target their main stations and fleets simultaneously." The conquered will not expect humans to act this boldly. Dylan leaned forward over the map. "We will divide our forces. One group attacks the main fleet in orbit. Another goes for supply stations on the Moon and Mars. Drones handle secondary targets. Speed and coordination will be our advantage." Sophie added, "We must protect Earth at all costs. Our population has suffered enough, and we cannot let the aliens recover and strike back. Every plan must have precision. Humans succeed when we think together." The humans launched their coordinated offensive. Ships moved in formation, dodging alien energy beams with agility that shocked even the most experienced alien commanders. Drones swarmed over enemy stations, cutting shields and destroying supply lines. Ethan Brooks watched from his command vessel. "They cannot do this," he muttered. "This is impossible. Humans are too small, too weak." Leela Monroe shook her head. "They are not weak. They are determined, they are clever, and they fight for their home." "You forgot the most important rule. Do not disturb humanity." The first targets were supply stations on the Moon. Dylan piloted a vessel alongside drones, weaving through alien defenses. Olivia monitored energy fluctuations and guided strikes toward reactor cores. The stations exploded in a series of controlled blasts, leaving alien forces scrambling. In orbit around Earth, Ryan led the main human fleet. Ships darted unpredictably between debris and satellites, attacking alien warships. Shields absorbed some energy, but human tactics overwhelmed the enemy. Alien formations broke, and chaos spread through their ranks. Sophie coordinated the drones, sending swarms to target command centers and weapon platforms. Each drone struck with precision, disabling systems without unnecessary destruction. The humans had learned to fight efficiently, using intelligence instead of brute force. Ethan Brooks grew desperate. "Send reinforcements," he shouted. "We must stop them now." But humans had anticipated reinforcements. Olivia had hacked alien communications, sending false signals that drew incoming fleets into ambushes. Human ships struck from hidden positions, destroying the reinforcements before they reached the front lines. On Mars, Dylan led a team to destroy alien production facilities. Rockets, drones, and adaptive vessels worked together to cut energy lines and weapons factories. Within hours, the aliens lost the ability to supply their fleets. The humans had crippled their war machine. Ethan Brooks tried to rally his commanders, but morale was collapsing. Leela Monroe watched quietly, knowing the end had come. "You broke the rule," she said. "You disturbed humanity. Now you will pay the price." The humans pressed their advantage. Ryan led a direct strike on the alien command vessel that had coordinated the attacks. Ships moved with speed and precision, avoiding energy blasts. Olivia guided them through weak points in the shields. Drones swarmed the vessel, disabling weapons and communication systems. The alien command vessel exploded in a massive fireball. Energy waves shook nearby ships, and the remaining alien fleet scattered. Humans followed, striking quickly before the enemy could regroup. On Earth, civilians watched the skies, seeing alien ships fall in orbit and fires in the distance. The fear that had gripped humanity for months was turning into hope. Humans were not only defending their planet, they were winning. Dylan and Sophie led teams to intercept fleeing alien ships. Using traps, decoys, and adaptive technology, they destroyed most of the surviving vessels. The Concorde's power, once feared across the galaxy, was broken. Humans had dismantled it piece by piece. Ryan looked at Olivia. "This is it," he said. "We've shown them humans cannot be conquered. Every attack, every loss, every battle, they underestimated us, and now they know the truth." Olivia smiled. "Humans do not give up. They survive, they adapt, and they fight back. We have done what no one expected." The Council, watching from a distant system, was in chaos. Some wanted to surrender, others wanted to continue fighting, but the Concorde was shattered. Communication lines were down, fleets destroyed, and colonies abandoned. The empire that had ruled countless systems was gone. Ethan Brooks could only sit in silence, staring at the destruction. Leela Monroe finally said, "You broke the rule. You disturbed humanity, and now your empire is gone. Humans have proven what we warned you about." On Earth, Ryan, Olivia, Dylan, and Sophie coordinated the final efforts to secure the solar system. Alien ships that tried to flee were destroyed or captured. Supply lines were severed, and any remaining alien forces retreated to distant systems far from human reach. Governments around the world celebrated quietly. The victory was theirs, but the team knew vigilance was necessary. Humanity had faced the greatest threat it had ever known and survived. Humans were no longer weak, scattered, or defenseless. They were united, strong, and capable of standing against any force in the galaxy. Ryan looked at the stars, reflecting on everything they had endured. "We've defended Earth. We've fought with courage and intelligence. But we've also shown the galaxy that humans are not a species to be underestimated." Olivia nodded. "And they won't forget it. Any civilization thinking of threatening humanity will remember this lesson." Dylan added, "We've learned a lot too. We can build, adapt, and work together. That is the real power of humans, not technology alone, but courage, unity, and intelligence." Sophie looked at the distant stars. "This is a new beginning. Humans have taken their place among the stars, not as weaklings, but as equals. Or even more, we've proven what it means to fight for survival, and now the galaxy knows our strength." The aliens who survived fled to distant systems, sending messages back to warn others. The story of humans spread quickly. Across the galaxy, other species realized Earth was no longer a planet to conquer, but a force to respect and fear. The Council was gone, its power shattered. Alien civilizations that had once relied on fear and intimidation were now cautious. unsure how to approach humanity. Humans had changed the balance of power in the galaxy. Ryan, Olivia, Dylan, and Sophie watched the skies from Earth, knowing their work was far from over. Humanity had proven itself, but they would continue to protect their planet and their people. They would continue to learn, adapt, and grow. The stars were no longer a distant dream. They were now a place humans could defend and explore. The story of humanity had changed. From a small, seemingly weak planet, humans had fought against a great empire and won. They had shown courage, intelligence, and determination. The galaxy had underestimated them, broken the rule, and now they had paid the price. Ryan smiled at Olivia. "We've survived. We've won." And the galaxy has learned that disturbing humanity is a mistake they will never repeat. Olivia smiled back. "Humans have always survived. Now they thrive. We are ready for whatever comes next." Dylan and Sophie nodded in agreement. Together, they had led humanity to victory. Together, they had proven that humans were strong, clever, and unstoppable when united. And as they looked at the stars, they knew the future was theirs. The galaxy would never forget the lesson of Earth, and humanity would never be underestimated again. The conquered was gone. The empire that had threatened countless worlds had fallen, and humanity had shown the galaxy what it meant to fight for survival, for home, and for the right to exist. Humans were no longer just a species. They were a force that would shape the galaxy, not through fear, but through courage, unity, and intelligence. The stars belonged to no one, but humanity had earned its place among them. The rule had been simple: do not disturb humanity. The aliens had ignored it. Now their empire was gone, and humanity stood victorious, ready to defend its place in the galaxy for all time.